Hi everyone.
Today we wanted to talk about, well, kind of entertainment, basically.
Prepping.
The genre is prepping or survivalism.
Yeah.
And we've been thinking about it and chatting about it, and we've been it's been in our periphery for many years because
We've dabbled a little.
we've dabbled.
Yes.
We had a farm, and we, half jokingly said this video is about prepping or survivalism, and we weren't ever very serious in any regard in those sort of things, but we did have a resource there. We had a farm that was out in the boonies,
But we do kind of prep.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
we-
We're smart about that. We like to keep things in supply and
Grab
not be
and go
foolish.
stuff.
So if we understand this shit has hit the fan, it can because it has, and we've seen it. My mother grew up in the Depression, and I grew up hearing about the Depression, so we know you've got to be smart. And I think if everybody prepped to some degree, we'd all be so much better off. Instead of criticizing and making fun of those people, become one.
Exactly,
to a
because
degree.
you're not going to be criticizing them if you really need.
I think after
What they have.
COVID was a wake up call when everything started disappearing off the shelves, and people were
like,
thinking
this really could happen.
And a lot of them were probably thinking about all those preppers that they made fun of. Like, those people have all the toilet paper. Look at our toilet paper.
We have years worth.
Here's our macaroni room.
And we haven't bought any in the past year, right?
So anyway, it's something that we do take seriously, and I think everybody does take it more seriously now.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it. We want to talk about TV shows. I think this all started with Bear Grylls. Was that his name?
Yeah.
Years ago, and this was a guy, and what we really want to talk about is the phonies versus the real preppers, right? There's a lot of
entertainment with the experts.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of really good, solid people out there that are very knowledgeable. So kudos to them.
Definitely.
And of course, on their coattails are all these phonies, and
Mm-hmm.
we don't focus on that too much, except to say one time we had a phony prepper outfit. It was a husband and wife. And the only reason I bring them up is because they attacked us. They were
random.
They were so pretentious, and
Yeah.
they had such a big following, and people loved them. But they disgraced themselves in the end, and the channel dissolved. I don't know. I heard all kinds of rumors.
They just decided to insult us for.
They decided to
no
insult us
reason.
for no reason. They stole a picture of Farm Girl and used it for their thumbnail, and while criticizing us, and it was just it was bad form and disgraceful all around. And here we are still yammering about survival and prepping and what do you call that when you go and build a house out in the wilderness?
Oh yeah, well, survival.
Homesteading is what you call it. Yeah, bushcraft and all that stuff.
Like that show, Alone.
So everything is inspired by Daniel Boone, right? The original frontiersman. So first, I want to talk about this knife. We got this from a young guy. This is a brochure.
Shed Knives. And they started in 2018. Just 3 friends in their backyard on Saturdays.
I think they found a piece of steel in the woods.
They forged a sword first.
It's a very compelling
Sword-ish.
story, and I was taken by this. Farm Girl brought it to my attention. This young man contacted us.
Yeah.
Jack Billings, and they found a piece of steel in the woods. These young dudes, teenagers, I guess, and they forged it. They did a hand-built forge, and they forged this thing into a katana, into a sword.
Yep.
And then they got fascinated with the process, and here you go. But what really gets me is
they have an impressive company.
I love this.
Yes.
Made in the USA.
Yeah.
So these
handmade, each and every one.
And so go to the website and check out the story, because it's pretty compelling and inspiring, and maybe you want a knife.
Shedknives.com.
But what did they send us? They sent us that's a sticker with a shed on it. They sent us a nice sample of their product. I'm going to cut myself here. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
It's wrapped with a nice desert camo rope or paracord.
Speaking of
there.
surviving, that would be useful.
Be very, very useful. So you got some cordage to build your shelter and whatnot. Oh, we got to talk about that, building shelters and whatnot. I was working on my chicken coop out there.
Oh yeah.
That kind of qualifies as prepping, right?
Sure.
Hey,
Yeah.
I want to have
Gotta have
poultry
your-
and eggs, and that's
and
a
meat if you need it
nice resource to have. Keep you going for a few days. Protein,
for a few days.
But I was out there building my chicken coop and thinking about shelter and how it's not that easy.
Oh man.
It's fun, and I've got all my saws and tape measure and product that I bought at the home improvement store. And
But you really have to know about building and measuring and math and all that.
Yeah.
To make a good shelter.
so we, I'm gonna jog around here. Speaking of reality shows, we get contacted every now and then from casting people that want to audition us or interview us for shows, TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was, or one of the first one was
The Amazing Race.
The Amazing Race,
Yeah.
and we made it to the final stages, and they needed
Other people.
Let's see, they needed
No. They needed other people.
they need, and so we were down to the people competing for white
But
straight
it's
couple.
okay
It's
because
not.
I was not really sold on it.
We didn't.
anyway.
We didn't care either way.
Yeah.
We just thought it was fun to go through the process.
Yeah.
And the most recent one was
It's not even out yet.
so we don't know the name of it. We wouldn't say the name of it, but it was this kind of thing where
It was a survival type.
they were looking for a couple to go and manage or keep a property secure through the winter, like out in the wilderness in Alaska.
Way out, yeah.
So that's kind of survivalism, maintaining a property.
Yeah.
So that would have been fun, but what would we have done with our dogs and our house and go?
Exactly.
And they want you
And
to
they're
try to
not-
go for
And they're not
6
really
months.
paying that much,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like,
Yeah.
we'd have
We
to
were
put
like, wait.
everything we're doing on hold for a
and get
long
paid
time.
less than we get paid for doing what we do. It wasn't very feasible.
Yeah, but it would have been fun.
So lots of I wanted to talk about that show we saw, Alone. So we were watching this show. Now that show looked legit.
Yeah, but these people got dropped off in grizzly country.
Yeah.
Well, the last one.
So
the one that we saw.
We have to be careful with the spoilers, but the one we saw was, I think it was the whole season was about them in grizzly country, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And you could see these people like pissing themselves with fear, and
I would not
near misses with
wanted to do
grizzlies.
that.
They had the horns.
They
and
had to
things.
film themselves.
Yeah.
That would be the hardest.
First of all,
part
I'm
to do.
saying, oh, this is not real. Look, they got a camera crew, and then
Yeah.
they said, wait a minute, they've got these sticks with
Selfie sticks.
with the GoPros on them,
Yeah.
and they've got GoPro head. They have it all, but they do it all themselves.
That part you would be an expert at. You would be so good at that.
And I guess they hand over their cards. Like I didn't know about that. Like I don't know if they pretended there was no contact with the outside world.
No,
or not.
they had their medical checks.
They had medical checks, and
but
I
they
guess
didn't say how often.
I guess when there were medical people would come in by boat and check on them, and I guess
Yeah.
when they did their medical checks, they would pick up their storage cards for their video.
and give them new batteries and stuff for their camera.
But there was this, talking about fake survivalists, there was this one girl on there. I want to talk a little bit about her because
she was really good though.
Shit, that's what I was going to say.
She was an amazing survivalist.
She was not a fake survivalist at all. She built her shelter, and it blew my mind the
like
way she
half
did it.
underground.
She dug out
Yeah.
earth like slowly with shards of whatever, and she fashioned little diggers and dug out this big pit, and then built like a basement, and then built the shelter on top and around that
For warmth. Yeah.
lodge
so
poles.
smart.
And they all build these amazing fire pits with chimneys going out. It's just awesome, worth watching.
Yeah.
But she was not a phony survivalist at all, but she was one of those people that fakes an accent, and it drove me crazy.
I almost couldn't get him to watch. I was like,
But
just,
then I-
just try and get
But
past
then I
that
got very
part.
engrossed because I just was fascinated. I became obsessed.
Well, the
with
whole
it.
time he was like trying to figure out when she was going to go into her American
she would have this
accent.
very like off-putting British dialect for a moment, and she would be talking about something, and then she'd start talking like this. She would get scared of a bear, and she'd start talking
Yeah.
regular. And I thought, you know,
English.
I've moved all around the country. I went to 11 different schools by the time I was in 8th grade. I still say water, like I'm from New
You
Orleans.
just have a couple words.
But
that
like,
stuck with
you know, that doesn't change in 10 years or however long. She was an adult and went to England, the UK, and then came back with a dialect. That drives me crazy. That's so phony and so pretentious. I shouldn't be insulting, but it's maddening to see them using
It's just
both.
distracting.
It's distracting
Very
because, I mean, you get down to the reason people do that is because they want to feel special. We all want to feel special, and I'm sorry that did sound mean, but you are special. We're all special in our own way. You don't have to go to a foreign land and glean
an accent.
an accent. Like I had an Australian buddy who came here and he loved it, and he would tell me honestly about it. The girls, they'd walk in the bar and start talking like that, and he said the girls would just swoon.
Yeah.
And he loved it, and he never got
It's
rid
a
of his.
cool accent.
He's been here for 40 years.
Oh
now,
yeah.
and he's never changed his dialect.
He
Probably
probably
because
practices at
he
home.
probably practices it. He probably calls home and talks to your old mom as often as he can, so
Yeah.
you keep it,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, I don't think a lot of those people lose their accents, especially when you go to a place when you're an adult. You know, you don't lose your homeland
Right.
dialect that readily, especially in 10 years when you're
Unless you really, really want to.
exactly. So,
And even then.
and we
it
thought
doesn't
they must
always
have
work.
hired that girl. They must have interviewed her and recognized that and thought, oh God, this is going to entertain the hell out of Exoman.
But she was really good.
She was so good.
She was amazing.
She was such a good
I was
survivalist.
so impressed.
She had trained herself. She had engaged in that kind of education, both as a student and I think as a teacher. A lot of these people have.
Yeah.
But I spotted that one young guy. Well, he's a young father of 3 kids. He was married.
Wait, don't do a spoiler.
Oh yeah. Thank you for stopping me. Anyway. Yep, I was about to say it. Yeah. And the one
Just
guy
in case you haven't watched.
The one guy in the beginning that was like, he got off that boat and he's like, I'm gonna own this, and then he was like, oh, I can't say that either.
Spoiler.
All right.
Spoiler alert.
Anyway, so we go from prepping to British accents. Boy, we're all over the place today. Huh?
Chicken coops.
Chicken coop. So I'm building a chicken coop, and I will have some video of that. Maybe.
And we will have some chickens soon. Some fresh eggs. We don't have to keep getting them from our neighbors.
But yeah, thank you for being here while we ramble on, or while I ramble on. And you were not that offensive today,
Oh,
as
thanks.
I was. And I'm
try.
gonna gift this knife, I think, to my son.
Oh, he would really like that.
That'd be a great Christmas present.
Yeah.
Look at that quality steel. It's always good to have a few extra things like this.
Good addition to your bug out.
And this one is it says TA on the box, so that would be, of the styles they have, that would be the, do you say Tautara?
Tuatara.
I'm sure it's not
Tuatara.
I'm sure it's not Tuatara.
Tuatara.
That one in the middle there. Tuatara.
We have not practiced this, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we thank you for watching. We wish you all a very, very happy holiday season.
Yes. Enjoy your Christmas.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll have lots of family around.
And stay tuned for some info about the little ramshackle chicken coop, all right? Or
Yeah.
maybe we'll make it a survival shelter. Who knows? Thanks. Bye.